Alrighty, so we have some fun topics to talk about today on the channel, including a new Nintendo Switch 2 game from Nintendo that appears to have been potentially leaked. So if this is your first time on the channel, welcome, hit that subscribe button. Without any further ado, let's talk about what's going on in the world of video games, and we're going to start things off with the latest Ubisoft situation, because boy, oh boy, do these companies just love digging their own graves when it comes to stuff like saying things in financial reports and in interviews. You might know that recently there's been the Stop Killing Games initiative. We've talked about it a couple of times before on the channel, that Accursed Farms is currently running to basically stop companies from killing games that require an online component, thus making the game null and void to where you can't play it anymore. Yves Guillemot of Ubisoft made a comment about it, kind of, a little bit snide, a little bit backhanded, but a recent discovery from the latest financial report from Ubisoft paints a perfect picture of what the video game industry has become and why it drives me crazy why people just continually support companies and everything they do, and they want everything to be a success when they don't view you in the same manner. They don't care about you, they care about their bottom line. Because in this latest financial report, Ubisoft claims that microtransactions in premium games make the player experience more fun, allowing gamers to personalize their avatars or progress more quickly. Now, they also say that it is always optional when it comes to microtransactions in full-priced $70 to $80 premium versions of games. But obviously, when you say the quiet part out loud, that's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. And when your justification for microtransactions is, well, they make the player experience more fun, that's not really what people want to hear. Now, I'm not here to criminalize microtransactions, because I think every single person watching this video, except for the one guy in the comments who's going to be like, I've never bought a microtransaction. I feel like most of us have purchased a microtransaction at least once in their lifetime, for whatever the reason may be. But when you see how these companies themselves view the microtransaction and how they feel like it's making your experience more fun, locking something behind a paywall or allowing you, a certain thing that you have to pay for instead of being able to unlock it in the game itself, that is where the problem really lies with stuff like this. DLC has been around for a while, and it adds to the base game, but then there's that whole question of, was this DLC done the whole time? Like, was this just withheld from the base game? But I think the unlockable stuff in games being forced behind microtransactions nowadays is what really rubs people the wrong way. But it's so funny because people act like Ubisoft is this great company, and Assassin's Creed Shadows was so great, and Star Wars Outlaws was so great, and it was just haters. It was haters who didn't like it, and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, Assassin's Creed Shadow, I honestly thought it was a good game. Like, I had fun with it. It wasn't the best I've played in that style of stealth ninja game, but it had some fun things to it. Star Wars Outlaws sucks. Like, it sucks. And then they also blamed Star Wars Outlaws' low sales on the fact that the Star Wars brand is low right now and people aren't interested in it. That's my biggest problem with these companies. There's no accountability. There's no pointing the finger at yourself and well, maybe we made a shitty game. Maybe we didn't do this franchise justice, or maybe we tried to, throw things in there that shouldn't have been thrown in there, whatever the case may be. But they never do that. They always blame you, the consumer. But give us your money for your microtransactions, because it's going to make your game a more fun experience. So next time Ubisoft releases a game, think to yourself, do I really need this game? What's the game plan for this game? What is the additional content looking like? Do I really need this microtransaction? Because some of these video game companies just need a harsh reality check. They live in a fantasy world because the CEOs and the higher ups make more money in a year than most people will make in a lifetime, but they think they know it all. There's nobody really to keep a system of checks and balances. So I guess the question I pose to you is, Do microtransactions make your gameplay experience more fun? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, something we're just going to talk about very briefly, the Nintendo Switch Online playtest is back. And what's interesting about it this time is you could actually do it with groups of people, because you could have multiple people. You could have one person sign up for the playtest, and then you can have them put down that they want these other individuals to be in the playtest with them as well, thus negating the entire sign-up process. You just click a link. We did that with myself, Spawnwave. Spawnwave was the one who did it because he seemed to be the most interested in it, MVG, and Nate the Hate. And it's kind of interesting that they're doing another one of these playtests. Now, you might remember the initial playtest. You couldn't talk about it or show footage about it, so I'm just showing some random B-roll here. But I do wonder, like, is there going to be a significant difference between this playtest and the original playtest? You know, it seems like some sort of interactive game, interactive world situation. When describing it, it sounds very strange, but kind of something that Nintendo would do. But I do wonder if there's going to be like another layer of polish to this. Is this going to be just a Switch 1 game? Because it does seem like this is a Switch playtest, meaning that if you have a Nintendo Switch 1, you can indeed play this. But is this a groundwork for something that's going to be on the Nintendo Switch 2? I don't really know. I probably won't even get accepted to the playtest. They'll see RGT85 on John's little sign-up sheet and probably be like, nope, you're not getting in here, pal. Although Josie just did get the Nintendo Connect. She got Donkey Kong Bonanza sent to her from Nintendo. So I guess the RGT stink isn't you know, too bad for my friends right now. But I don't know, maybe I got to stink it up a little bit. But yeah, I guess, did you sign up for the playtest? Do you understand what's going on with this? Let me know in the comments down below. And our final thing is, the King of LinkedIn strikes again, folks. If you don't know who the King of LinkedIn is, it's Doc Trey. What it do, bruh? Talk of the town. Nintendo, Doc Trey, still holding it down. I will put a link to his discovery video in the comment section down below, should you want to go check it out. And I mean, he is the source for this, so, you know, go show some love to the source. But Doc Trey likes to scroll through LinkedIn and find things, and he's actually very good at it. Like, I think it's kind of a skill at this point in time. And he basically found out that it looks like Nintendo has potentially leaked a new Switch 2 game because of a LinkedIn profile of an unannounced game, that being what appears to be a new Fire Emblem game, and it could be coming sooner rather than later, because basically Doc Trey found that a veteran Japanese 3D character modeler who has worked with other companies before in the past, such as Sega, revealed on LinkedIn that from January of 2025 to April of 2025, they worked on the sequel of Nintendo's SRPG tactical role-playing game, so strategy RPG, on the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, they didn't say what franchise this is, but if you look at strategy RPG games from Nintendo on Nintendo platforms that would be getting a sequel, I mean, I don't think Advance Wars is showing up anytime soon. You know, that latest Advance Wars, they delayed the hell out of it, and by the time it released, nobody remembered that it was a thing. I never even bought it. Like, I'm realizing right now, I never bought the Advance Wars 1+2 bundle thing, and I probably should have, because I really like those games. I don't think it's going to be Battalion Wars either, because Nintendo they don't care about Battalion Wars, and that's more of an action thing. So a sequel of a strategy RPG from a first-party company of Nintendo, to me, definitely sounds like Fire Emblem. Now, the fact that they worked on the game from January of 2025 till April of 2025 might kind of strike people as a little bit odd, like, well, why did they work so in such a short manner on this game? And it could have just been something that was outsourced to help with the project and potentially finish the project. Now, we don't know what kind of state this game is in, but if you're hiring an experienced 3D modeler for a game, you bring them on board for 3 or 4 months, and then, you part ways with them. That definitely sounds like contract work, and usually is something that is done when the game is starting to gear up towards completion. Now, when you look at the Nintendo Switch 2 launch schedule for upcoming games from Nintendo themselves, I mean, you have the Kirby's Air Ride, Metroid Prime 4, which is technically a Switch 1 game that does have a Switch 2 version for it. I mean, Hyrule Warriors is a second-party joint venture. Pokemon Legends EA, a second-party joint venture. So could this be a 2025 game? Like, I don't think that it's outside of the realm of possibility. The interesting thing is that it says a sequel, not a remake. So if you're expecting like Path of Radiance or whatever, like maybe this isn't going to be it, but definitely something to keep an eye on with this. We're all kind of expecting a Nintendo Direct to happen somewhat soonish, potentially this week or next week. Definitely, it looks like it's happening in the month of July. And I mean, I guess a Fire Emblem game looks to be showing up there. I do wonder about the rest of 2025, but I feel like I could save that for another day and another video. So would you be excited to see a new Fire Emblem game on the Switch 2? Let me know in the comment section down below. And that is all I have for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on microtransactions, making games more fun for you. Are you doing the Nintendo playtest? I'm probably not, but I would check it out if given the chance. And are you excited for a new Fire Emblem game on the Switch 2? Sequel? Maybe 3 Houses 2? 6 Houses? Fire Emblem 6 Houses? Who knows, man? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, share, hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Sorry about yesterday's video. I'm sure most of you are still mad at me for saying bad things about your favorite game. Later.